party system. No, I must place the union in proper party for
Hello and welcome. We all thought we had heard the last of the controversial budget pageant saga in Nigeria, but it's now clear that we were wrong. And the latest controversy arising from the budget padding saga is perhaps more serious than what we had heard before. More serious, of course, considering who the latest accusation, or where I should say the latest accusation is coming from. About 24 hours after he was removed as the chairman of the House of Representatives Committee on Appropriation, Honorable Abdul Mumin Jibrin fired a bombshell. He accused the Speaker of the House, Yakubu Dogara, of attempting to pad the 2016 budget with as much as 30 billion naira. He says his removal from his former position was because he refused to allow the Speaker have his way. Now, Speaker Dogara had announced the removal of Jibrin on the floor of the House last Wednesday, but the lawmaker himself later briefed the press that he actually chose to step down and wasn't removed. Jibrin issued a lengthy statement last Thursday evening detailing why he says he was removed and accusing the principal officers of the House of an attempt to pad the budget by as much as 40 billion naira. He specifically mentioned the Speaker, the Deputy Speaker, the Whip, and the Minority Leader, calling on them to resign over the issue. The House leadership has denied the accusation. In a statement put out by the spokesperson of the House, Abdul Razak Namdas, the leadership of the House described the allegations as false and that Jibrin's reactions are basically born out of anger over his removal as chairman of the House Committee on Appropriation. Now, I have a guest in the studio who would be discussing this further. But before I bring him on, let me give you some key highlights now from the statement put out by Honorable Abdul Mumin Jibrin, the former chairman of the House Committee on Appropriation. After all, after that, I should say, I'll take highlights from the response by the spokesperson of the House. So here we go with Honorable Jibrin's statement. Now, the first key thing he said there is, quote, "I don't know how to pretend. I don't do eye service. Neither will I ever be a sycophant. I don't give returns. I just do my job faithfully and dedicatedly." Now, let's turn to the second one. He goes on to say, "Lately, I openly disagreed with some principal officers on the issue of immunity for lawmakers and budget issues. I still maintained I will never support immunity." The third one, "I strongly believe with every conviction that in cleaning up the budgeting system and considering what transpired during the 2016 budget, which I have all the facts documented, Speaker Dogara, Deputy Speaker Lasun, Whip Dogowa, and Minority Leader Leo Ogo should resign. These members of the body of principal officers were not comfortable with my independent disposition and my refusal to to cover up their unilateral decision to allocate to themselves 40 billion naira out of the 100 billion naira allocated to the entire National Assembly." Now, that's not the end. The fourth one, the four of them met and took that decision. In addition to billions of wasteful projects running over 20 billion they allocated to their constituencies, they must come out clean. My inability to admit into the budget almost 30 billion naira personal requests from Mr. Speaker and the three other principal officers also became an issue. I have every documented evidence to this effect. And then another one. I gave Mr. Speaker statistics of 2,000 new projects introduced into the budget by less than 10 committee chairmen without the knowledge of their committee members. He did nothing about it because he was part of the mess, yet he's talking about improving the budget system. The sixth, a coward, hypocrite, and pretender of the highest order. Now he's referring to the Speaker. Mr. President must be very careful with him. He wines with Mr. President and dines with Mr. President's enemies. By Mr. President, he means, of course, President Buhari. I'm glad that I'm finally free from his emotional blackmail of constantly trying to make me see my appointments as appropriation chairman as a favor. And then the last one. He says, I intend to explore all internal avenues of the House to brief my colleagues in detail and testify against Speaker Dogara, Deputy Speaker Lasun, Whip Dogoa, and Minority Leader Leo Ogo on why they should resign. If I'm not allowed to exercise my privilege, I shall consider legal actions. Now, let's turn to the reaction of the House of Representatives. The House of Representatives the leadership of the House, I should say, reacted through the spokesperson of the House. Now, let's take some highlights now from that reaction. The first one says, most of the allegations of the 2016 budget process and his opposition to immunity of presiding officers are non-issues and mere afterthought manufactured simply because the House relieved him of his position. Of course, the man being referred to, of course, there is the man who made the allegation. That's Honorable Jibrin. Now, Honorable Jibrin, Abdulmumin Jibrin, like any other member of the House, knows that there are conventions and precedents as it relates to budgets and projects for principal officers of the National Assembly. Why is he making it an issue? The third, we must make it abundantly clear that he was not removed because of his support or otherwise on immunity bill. After all, he is not the only one who opposed the bill. Then the fourth, he should not distract the House from giving legislative support on important issues facing the government concerning the revival of the economy, insecurity in the country, pursuit of anti-corruption measures, poverty alleviation, infrastructural development, etc. And then the final one, the Nigerian people are simply not ready to waste their time on personal issues and personal egos of our leaders. We should face the urgent task before us for which we were elected. Now, that's from the House of Representatives. Let me just bring in, should I call you Honorable? I was just going to call you Honorable.
No, you know.
Libros Oshoma, thank you very much for coming. I mean, I was just going to call you Honorable,
no, but Deji, you know, that's one name I pity people that bear such names because you don't even know when they call you honorable. You bear honorable, and somebody might just be shouting honorable, and you think they are calling you honorable, and so.
But seriously, are you shocked at these accusations? These accusations made by the former chair of the House of Reps Committee on Appropriation, very weighty allegations.
I'm not shocked like most Nigerians, because Nigerians already know that the elections. We dwell so much on the governorship and the presidential election, and we really don't look at the National Assembly election and the State House of Assembly. And so at the end of the day, you find out that, it is when they are inaugurated, you now begin to hear of all kinds of persons representing you, and you try to phantom, what the business of National Assembly is. The only time you hear their voices is when there is internal wrangling about money sharing.
This is quite surprising.
Money sharing and allocations like this.
During the budget padding controversy, a lot of people thought, well, a lot of the blame had actually been heaped on civil servants. But with what we're hearing now,
no, it is for those that usually do not understand the budgeting process. And if you remember, right from inception, the National Assembly kept hammering on the fact that, it is not a conveyor belt for budget passing, that the president cannot just send a budget to them and expect the document to return back to him the way it was sent. That some of their functions include addition or the subtraction from the budget. And so these were some of the issues also, if you remember, that was why when the budget was sent back to the president for his assent, the president had to sit down with his team and review the budget page by page, item by item, and that there were some items that found their way into the budget that were not included right from the word.
Quite right.
And then also the issue of this constituency project also was not part of the original budget that was sent by the executive. And because of the delay in passing the budget, it was alleged that there was a kind of a meeting point between the National Assembly and the presidency before the presidency now decided to include that 100 billion.
Can I just ask you a question? Let's look at the allegation against the speaker that he tried to pad the budget, pad about 30 billion into the budget. If anything of such nature even happened, would that be corruption? Could we say the speaker was trying to enrich himself in any way, since the money was anyway going to constituency projects? Even though
DG, these allegations are weighty. I have even before you were reading all the bullet points of both the allegation and the answers. I had also had cause to go through, these allegations and the comments from the spokesperson of the House of Rep. And for me, they were, the usual response.
Yeah,
the usual response.
I thought as much.
Don't distract Nigerians. Nigerians want to be focused on the work at hand. And then also there was an admission on, if you look at the second item you read from the response, that he should be aware of the procedures.
Yes.
For me,
exactly.
that's an admission. What he simply says is, look, there is a procedure we do, there's a way we do these things.
You're right.
And so one of such ways is...
I think you're right. And let me read that. Honorable Abdul Mumin Jibrin, like any other member of the House, knows that there are conventions and precedents
what are these
as
conventions?
It relates to budgets and projects or principal officers of the National
what
Assembly.
Are these, what
so why is he making it an issue?
By implication, what he's saying is that the principal officers would take a large chunk of the constituency project. And so this
means
issue,
the constituency of the principal officers their constituencies are more important than other constituencies.
Yes, exactly. And so they get a larger chunk. And so the issues you have raised are not out of place, because this is the practice. This is the convention. And so you should know that that is the practice. And so for the fact that these principal officers are trying to corner 40 billion naira project to their constituency shouldn't be out of place. It should, so Nigerians should not
if this
focus.
principal
And then
officers
also
actually tried to do that, could they have benefited directly?
The idea of constituency project in the first place is wrong completely. Like, Nigerians need to know that. It is not the duty of the National Assembly members to be involved in constituency project. This was introduced by Obasanjo's administration, and as a way of compromising the lawmakers. It's a give and take thing. And so now they are so inured in it that any attempt at removing it, they will fight tooth and nail. And with what the allegations you have seen now or heard, to the fact that, look, about 10 committee chairmen introduced almost 2,000 projects. These are ways you pad budgets. There's a project
without their committee members knowing.
There's a project that was not budgeted for, and you feel, okay, in my area there should be a road here, there should be a water, an overhead tank in this place. Oh, this should be part of the constituency project that we want to do. And in most cases, these are ways these people make money also. Because some of the contractors to execute this project are influenced by them and appointed by them. In some cases, there are pseudo companies where they have, controlling shares represented by process. And so these are ways. Our politics have been so monetized that everybody that is a part of it would also want to find ways of making money. And so when they get to National Assembly, you hear them fight over constituency allowances, constituency project, oversight functions. You would think it's about the people. It's about providing good governance to the people. It's about developing governance at the grassroots. But it's about pockets. It's about the fact that, look, I have spent money to get here. Some of them told us that they bought their ticket, they paid to get to the National Assembly, so we shouldn't bother them.
I mean, this man has said he's ready to testify against the Speaker, the Deputy Speaker. Where do you see this heading to?
DEJI, I see this testifying. This is not the first time I'm hearing of somebody testifying.
Maybe a committee will be set up to reconcile.
That's exactly where I'm going to. Okay. If you remember, the current governor of Kaduna State, Merufai, did raise allegations against Senator Jonathan Zwingina and Ibrahim Mantu then, that they demanded for graft from him. A committee was set up headed by Mamora, and what became of it? Dino Melaye also raised allegation against the former speaker, Dimeji Bankole, on a purchase of...
a committee was
set up. And also, a committee will be set up. They have already told you that it's a convention, it's a practice. And so, it's like you accuse a judge and is the one that's going to try your case. So they already have an answer. And so they will just walk from the answer.
Let me just quickly ask you this, because we have to end this discussion. How damaging do you think this is to the speaker, especially the leadership of that house?
For the ordinary average Nigerian in the eye of Committee of
Nations. Because this is quite huge. Coming from the former chairman
for the average Nigerian in the eye of Committee of Nations, this is very damaging. It's also lays credence to the fact that Nigerians just slogan anti-corruption. Even they mention anti-corruption fight in their response. And that we are truly not ready. Even our institutions are not ready to fight corruption. All they mouth corruption and look for opportunity to help themselves, to the Commonwealth. But for the politicians, it is usual, it is business as usual. So they won't really see it as anything. And from their response also, it shows that it is nothing. And so don't distract us. Don't distract us from providing dividends of democracy to the people. And so we want to be focused, and nothing basically will come out of it. Don't be surprised that at the end of the day, you will see the entire House of Rep pass a vote of confidence on the speaker. And that this man was he's speaking because he's been removed, like they've already said.
All right. Honorable. Oh, not honorable.
Honorable.
Libros, thank you very much for coming on the program. Thank you very much for your thoughts. So we'll take a short break here, and when we come back, we'll switch focus to the economy. Every day, every hour, and every minute, news break in Nigeria. Things happen so fast, it's most times difficult to track and comprehend them. But that's what we do right here on DEJI360. 2015, would you want to come back again?
It's like asking Jesus Christ if he knew he was going to die, will you want to come back as the savior of the world again?
We do not just help you track the stories, we break them down, explore all the angles, analyze the issues so that you can fully comprehend the stories and use them to make the right decisions.